Hi, welcome to Wings LifeWise Family Workshops. My name is Ann Edenfield-Sweet. I'm the Executive Director of Wings for Life International, and we are so excited to be with you and to be able to share some of this information. And today I'm going to talk about guaranteed ways to get a job. I want to give you a little bit of background on me. My first husband was an airline captain. He ended up going to prison. I ended up penniless, ended up with a $3.5 million IRS lien, 4 little boys. I couldn't work because I had a baby on oxygen with failure to thrive. And so guaranteed ways to get a job, these are all things that I have learned along the way. Now, the first thing I want you to concentrate on, and probably the most important thing that I can talk about through this entire workshop, is you have to decide what kind of work you want to do. So it doesn't do you any good. I get people that come into the office all the time and they say, I need to get a job. My PO said I have to get a job. And I said, well, what do you want to do? Anything. Please don't ever say that. That is the worst answer ever. You are not going to do anything. If you love to be outside and you're sitting at a desk, you're not going to be happy. If you want to be inside and you don't want to be climbing on roofs and doing solar panels, you're not going to be happy with a solar panel job. So the key thing is that you could start in a job. It doesn't matter if you start out at the bottom of the totem pole and work your way up, but the important thing is you've got to be in a field that you like. So let's take the field of hospitality. Let's just say that you really like hospitality, and the only job you can get is as a cleaning person or maintenance at the hotel. What a wonderful way to start. You're going to learn from the bottom up, and then you could grow up to front desk clerk, up to management. Who knows where this might take you. But you want to figure out the field. So here is a list of all kinds of opportunities, and there are many, many more. So you need to decide, what do you want to do, what field do you want to be in, and then you are now in a field where anything that you learn is going to help you to become the person that you ultimately want to be. But you're going to be in the field. So remember that is key. Then the next thing I want you to do is pick out 10 places. Where do you want to work? Okay, so now you want to work. Let's use that hospitality analogy again, because a lot of people go into hospitality. So let's just say you want to work in motels, and I live here in Albuquerque. So do I want to go work at a motel down Central, or do I want to work at the Hyatt or the Marriott or Crown Plaza or one of those places? Now, if it's up to me, I want to work at one of the better places. Why? Because it's going to pay more probably. You're going to have a better opportunity for a promotion and rising up in the ranks of those big chains. You might want to leave, and I knew the manager at the Marriott Pyramid, and he went on to become the manager of a big, huge Marriott property in Chicago, and making tons more money than he is here in Albuquerque. So the big companies have an opportunity for growth, for expansion, and for moving, if you wish. But first of all, pick 10 places. This is key. You're only going to go to 10 places. So you do your homework, do your research, find out where do you want to work. Then there's going to be a list like this, and on our website you can print this out. But now I want you to list those places. So where are you going to go? So number 1, 2, all the way down to number 10. Where are they located? What's their phone number, website, contact, and comments? Anything that you want to write about them. And then, what are you going to do the following Monday? Now, first of all, of course, you've done tons of research. You haven't just gone out that first week. You're going to have to spend a lot of time researching. And let me tell you about a guy that came into our office. Jason was his name. He came from a halfway house, federal halfway house. He came in and he said he was going back to Santa Fe, and he wanted to work for state government. His dad had been in state government, and he thought, because his dad had good health insurance, had all kinds of vacation time, he thought that would be a good career to go into. And I said, well, great. So he came into our office and he said, may I use the computers to research? I said, of course. And he said, is it okay if I copy anything up? I said, absolutely. So he came in, he started doing research, and he finally discovered that there was a field that I didn't even know about, and an agency with the New Mexico state government, that if you get turned down for food stamps, you can put in a request to have them review your case, so perhaps you could get food stamps. Now remember, he was a returning citizen. He had spent 3 years in prison, and so I said, well, Jason, why do you want a job like this? And he said, well, because I know how difficult it is for me out here as a returning citizen. I imagine if they've been turned down for food stamps, that's really difficult. And he said, so I'm going to really be a little more open-minded because I know how difficult it can be for people. And I said, oh my gosh, you're perfect. This is exactly what they're looking for, somebody that has an empathetic, caring heart that wants to work with somebody that got turned down. You don't want somebody that says, oh, no, you don't need any more food stamps, and just slam the phone down. They need somebody caring like you. So I said, why don't you do some research on this agency? And I knew nothing about it either. Well, come to find out, by the time he was ready to go for an interview, he had a notebook this thick with papers that he had printed out. He knew this backwards and forwards. We're going to get into how to dress, but I'll tell you right now, he walked in to our office one day. He had picked up clothes that we had been giving away and donated, and he came in with them hanging up on a hanger. He had a nice collared shirt. He had a sport coat. He had khaki pants. He even had polished shoes. He came in and showed me his polished shoes, and he said, what do you think? How does this look? I said, oh my gosh, this is fantastic. And he was ready to go. He had done the research. He knew everything about it. And later on, I'm going to tell you the rest of that story. But now you've done all that research too, just like Jason. And on Monday, what are you going to do? Monday, go to the first 2 places on your list. Now, you've got to pick out the time that's the best time to visit. You're not going to go to a hotel at 8 o'clock in the morning or 5 o'clock in the afternoon when everybody's either checking in or checking out. You're going to go midday when things are going to be a little bit calmer, and you're going to show up. And they might say, well, gee, I'm not taking any applications today. Well, you could say I filled out something online, because now most applications have to be filled out online, but here's a copy of my resume, and you want to leave that, and then you might want to get to know Joe at the front desk. And if Joe, oh gee, and we're not taking any applications today. Well, that's okay. And your name I see on your name tag or whatever is Joe. Well, hey Joe, why do you like to work here? And so Joe starts to tell you all about why he likes to work there. Write it down. And so now you go out, you go to your second place, you're nice and fresh, you pick the right time of the day to go 2 places. What do you do the second day? On Tuesday, you go to 3 and 4. What do you do on Wednesday? 5, 6, Thursday, 7, 8, Friday, 9, 10. Now here's the key. What are you going to do the next week? The next week, you're going to do exactly the same thing. Now, maybe you go back and Joe isn't there. Maybe Mary is there now. Hey, Mary. Oh, my gosh, I was in last week. I met Joe, and now I see you're here. Nice to get to know you. Why do you like to work here? What's the best thing about working here? Tell me about it. Okay, what are you going to do? You're going to write it down. You're building your portfolio about this particular company. And you're going to talk to people every time you go back. You're going to keep doing it and keep doing it. It might take a month. It might take longer. But ultimately, I believe they're going to hire you. Because number one, what are you demonstrating? You're demonstrating your reliability. You're going to be there every week. You're going to get to know people. And they are going to find out that you are reliable and that you're going to prove to them how reliable you are. But we're going to move on. Now, in your resume, now, first of all, I suggest that you don't print it out on just normal copy paper. And anybody, anywhere can come into our office. We get donated nicer paper all the time. I suggest you put it on a little thicker paper, maybe something a little off-white, never bright yellows, pinks, any of that kind of stuff. You don't want to do that. But something that'll stick out in somebody's desk, because another piece of white copy paper is going to look just like everything else. If you can make it to look just a little bit different, I think I'll look for Ann's. It's that slight gray, a shade of gray, and that little thicker paper. Where is it? It's going to be much easier to find. But on your resume, you're going to put your name. Sometimes I don't recommend putting an address. Certainly if you have a halfway house, if you have a questionable address, that's not important. Your phone number is very important, and your email is critical. You must put your phone number and your email. And we're going to get into email and how you do your email in just a little bit. If you've had any education or any certification, we work with a lot of people that have been incarcerated. So maybe they don't have a lot of things. Maybe they just got their GED. If you got your GED, put it down though, that's important. But if you've been volunteering and doing different things, sometimes you get different plaques. If you're involved with Wings and different programs, we give different plaques out. Those certifications might be important. Now, your work history. Now, if you have a prison record, and 1 in 3 adults across the United States have a criminal record, if you can believe that one. So if you think you're the only one out there that might have a criminal record, no. 1 out of 3 American adults have a criminal record today that impacts employability. But you could write down, what did you do? A lot of people have worked in the kitchen. A lot of people are helpers with education, help with the chaplain's helpers. They might help with the gym and the workout areas. Maybe you've helped tutor and mentor somebody, and maybe you've learned Spanish, or somebody's taught you Spanish, or you've taught English to somebody. All of these things are really, really important. And anything that you can get written down, any recommendations from any of the staff that have been working with you in prison or outside, anywhere, whatever you've done that has helped you accomplish some things, these are key things to do. And you're not going to just list the job duties. If you've worked in the kitchen, think about what you've done. Have you done inventory control? Have you done training? Have you created new recipes? Have you worked with management? All of these things are the bigger pictures that you're going to be looking for. And of course, number 4, any awards, special recommendations, letters of recommendations, any community service or volunteer service. Now, volunteering is such a key thing. So if you have volunteered anywhere, and if you haven't, go start volunteering. You could always come to Wings. We'd love to have volunteers. But it really looks good on your resume that you have volunteered somewhere. You like dogs? Go work with dogs. You like kids? Go work with kids. Whatever it is, you're involved in your local church. Be careful about listing church involvement, because sometimes people are a little leery about, that person is part of this faith. And so, but you could say, I've taught classes for children in a local congregation. I would use the word congregation, not synagogue or mosque or church, but I would use congregation. That's the general term, and I would not list what denomination or what particular church. Your attendance record. Now, attendance is key. I used to work for the airlines. That was one of my first careers, 15 years. I worked for the airlines. The airplanes do not take off if people aren't there. In fact, at the end, it got so good, because I always had perfect attendance, that if you didn't call in sick for a whole year, they put your name in the hat. They would pull your names out. I was never lucky enough to win these $50,000 cars, but they did have all kinds of incentives. My youngest son used to work for Southwest Airlines, and they have really great buddy passes. But you call in sick one time, and for the next quarter, you've lost all your buddy passes and all your passes. And so they realize that if a company doesn't have their employees there, that's a problem. If you've got good attendance, you want to highlight that. You want to say, oh, gee, we've got 4th of July coming up. Hey, I'll be there. I know that's important, and I don't want you to have to leave your vacation because I'm not here. I will be there. It's Christmas. I will be there. I'll be able to celebrate with my family. I know I'll work these hours, and I'll plan my celebration another time. It is key, and you need to talk about that because that is so important. And references. Please don't ever say references upon request. That is just the craziest thing. Everybody is going to want to call somebody and find out about you. Don't make it difficult for them. If you don't put references down and they've already got 10 other people that look like they're qualified, are they going to waste time to call and ask you to send references? They're going to toss your resume. So put those references down, emails and phone numbers. You must do it. It is so key. Make it easy for the HR person. You don't want to make it difficult. Now, I was talking about emails. Now, you don't want to use anything corny like Ann loves cookies or something. Don't do that. If you want to have one of those fun little emails, save that for your family and your close friends. You want to be professional on a resume. And look at the difference here. It's pretty hard to understand what my name is on that top line. My name might be Ann Denfield, for all you know. But if you see it written down below with caps, you know it's Ann Edenfield at Wings. And then you can see, oh, FLY. I wonder what that stands for. It stands for, actually, forlifeinternational.org. But the rest of it is just kind of jumbled. In the old days, when you were doing emails, everything had to be lowercase. That is ancient history. And why people still do it, I don't know. So please use capitals also on your name. So capital A, capital E, my last name. I recommend that you avoid zeros, or certainly you don't ever want to use an O, but if it looks like a year like 2015 or something like that, people will probably guess that's a zero. But again, be careful of that. I suggest just using ones, because they could be L's, they could be I's, you don't know, and especially if you handwrite that out. So be very careful about what you choose. Underscores sometimes aren't seen. So again, a lot of people use underscore. I recommend that you don't, because you want the point of an email is so they can get in touch with you. If they write it down wrong, chances are you're never going to hear back from them. And again, I would be careful about spellings. I would avoid interesting ways of spelling a word, because people just see a word and they're probably going to type it the normal way. A man gave me an email the other day. It was blessed, but he only spelled it with one S, B-L-E-S-E-D. Chances are a lot of people are going to miss that and write two S's there. So again, be very careful about these things. That's the way people are going to get in touch with you. So be careful about how you write it out if you're handwriting it out, but also how you type it out. And so I would highly recommend using capitals. Of course, you're not going to put typos and grammatical errors on things. You're not going to list, are you married, or your age. You would never put your age down, because whether you're young or old, then lawsuits come up, because who's going to hire me today? I'm going to be too old. Okay, so I don't dare put my age down. Children, politics, religion. Again, you don't want to say I'm an active member of the Democratic Party or the Republican Party or the Independent Party. No, they don't. You need to leave all of that stuff off your resume and not even really talk about it at work, because it can get to be a problem. Photos. Don't ever put your photo on there, because you're either black, you're Asian, you're white, you're whatever, and somebody's going to say, you didn't hire me because I look this way. I look too old, I look too young, I was this color, I was that color. Don't put it on there. You, of course, avoid humor, sarcasm, buzzwords, leverage, and synergy. Come on, just talk normal words. You don't want to put your hobbies down. They couldn't care less what your hobbies are. I would avoid any talk about salaries. You're going to get paid what they are going to pay you. Then your goal, of course, is to start wherever it is, and you're going to rise up that pay scale. You're not planning to stay there, so I wouldn't even go there. And if you have any history blanks in your work history, so you haven't worked for the last 5 years, you don't want to be putting, well, from 2015 to 2020 I didn't work, but I worked all the rest of my time. Of course they're going to say, well, what were you doing? And so be careful. And we're going to get to, if you've got a criminal record, what you do there. Now, you need to determine what your skills, or what I call God-given gifts. These are called soft skills. What are they? Are you a team player? Problem solving? Are you really good at helping with that? Are you creative? We need people creative in the workplace. Time management. Do you manage the time well? Are you good at communicating? What's your work ethic? And you need to talk about these things naturally, about all of this. Are you a natural leader? Do you have strong interpersonal communication skills, written and verbal? Are you a good writer? Do you like to write? All of these things are going to be important. And flexible. Are you flexible? And of course, there's so many others. But think about they're called soft skills. Talk to your friends. and have them be honest. What do you think that I'm good at? And they will tell you, hopefully they will tell you all the positive things. You don't want to hear anything negative, only the positive things about what you're good at. Now, on your job application form, you're going to be as neat as possible. You are not going to cross out or erase or making spelling errors. And of course, you have to be honest. If you have anything related to any kind of criminal record, yes, and I will explain it to you. And we're going to get into your returning citizen statements here in just a little bit. Now, I also recommend that you print out a blank job application. Or if you get one and you could take it home and bring it back, make a copy of it, fill it out neatly without any spelling mistakes. Maybe you forget that you worked at such and such a place. And sometimes that can come back to haunt you because somebody could say, well, you didn't put that down. So I would suggest that you fill out an application, make a copy of it so you have a copy, and then go deliver it back. If they say you have to fill it out right there, then you've got a copy of something that you filled out for another company, and then you could fill out their application if they want it right then and there. But otherwise, I would suggest that you take it, you fill it out at home, make a copy of it in case you make some mistakes, and then try to fill it out and bring it back in. And of course, you're going to be honest about everything that you're talking about. Now, the interview does start before you arrive. First of all, it starts with a phone appointment. So you have to record a professional voicemail. Get rid of the music, get rid of the 3-minute long discussion, get rid of the dog barks at the end and you know what to do, anything cute and all that stuff. People don't have time to listen to it. I'm probably the only one that would listen to all that because an HR person says, no, I don't have time. Record something professional. Now, also, I'm going to teach you this right now. Pick up your finger and write down this number with me. This is the way I would be leaving a recorded message for somebody else. Hi, my name is Ann. I'm calling about the job offering that you have. My phone number is now use your finger with me, 505-554-6698. Now let's try it another way. The rest of the message is, and I would like to come in for the interview. I'm so thankful that you called. I'd love to talk with you. And again, this is Ann Edenfield Sweet, and I'm so thankful that you called. And again, my phone number is, now let's try this, 505-554-6698. Now, I think you're going to find if I say the phone number is 554, that's really only two numbers instead of 554. And if I said 6698, that's four numbers to remember. But if I said 6698, it's just easier to remember. I used to be a vice president of a publishing company, and I trained all our staff how to do this, and it made a world of difference. And if you can't write it with your finger as fast as you're saying it, they can't write it down either. So you've got to be really careful about that. Now, parking lot impression. A lot of things can happen in that parking lot, and a lot of things have happened to me trying to find places. And so be careful. You don't want to go blasting into a parking lot. You don't want to go shooting in. You don't want to get lost somewhere and be yelling to somebody, hey, buddy, where is this place? That could be the owner of the company. You never know. So you want to be very careful about that. So parking lot impression, you don't know who is parking in that car next to you. Do not smoke. I always recommend, if you are a smoker, take your last puff, then you go take your shower. You've already hung out your clothes the night before outside. Your car windows in your car are open all night long with a fan, if you can have a fan near it, to air it out, maybe put in some kind of can or something to make the car smell better. You brush your teeth, you wash with mouthwash, anything to get that cigarette smell off your body, your clothes, because 86% of employers will not hire a smoker over a non-smoker, period. Forget anything else about you. A smoker has an 86% chance less of getting hired than a smoker. And of course, you turn your cell phone off. You do not bring a cell phone in absolutely turn it off. You don't want to be fidgeting. You don't want to be dealing with your cell phone. You just don't want to be dealing with it. Now, I will recommend that everybody register with Workforce Solutions. If you have any kind of criminal record whatsoever, there's something called WIOA. It's the Workforce Innovative Opportunity Act. This is to put people that are returning citizens, people coming back out of prison, to work. There are all kinds of funds available for this. And there's also a federal bonding program, too, that you could try to find funding for. Now, of course, you're going to dress for success. You always want to dress for the position at least one level above you. So again, you're not going to go in torn old jeans. You're going to press your clothes. I don't care if you're going in to be working as the cleaning lady in the hotel. Press your clothes. You want to look sharp. You want to look like the front desk manager. If at all possible, hide your tattoos. A lot of people, they just don't want to see tattoos all over. Once they get to know you, it's going to be okay. But I would recommend on that first impression, which you're given about 10 seconds at the most on that first impression, try to hide the tattoos if you can. Avoid a bunch of earrings, faddish clothing or clothes. Again, it's that first impression. Men, khakis, polo shirt, whatever. Women, no short skirts. You never want cleavage showing. And you want to avoid anything that would be sexy or provocative. Because again, now with all these lawsuits, if you hire a beautiful looking woman, then all the ladies are going to be jealous and oh, you guys are after her or whatever. It's going to backfire. So you got to be careful about these things. First impressions, of course, you're going to be on time. I always recommend that you drive around, you get to know the place, and this is when you have your appointment and you are in the parking lot 10 minutes early, getting prepared and ready to go in. You're going to put a smile on your face, that firm handshake. You never want to give that wimpy handshake. Nice and firm, thumbs together, not crushing, but nice. Direct eye contact. You always have to make eye contact, and of course you're going to talk to the staff, the welcoming desk, whatever it is, and you're going to avoid at all costs a one-word answer, yes and a no. Yes, I really like that. Why would you like it? Then you have to say, yes, I would really like to do that because. And then you go into your soft skills or you go into your past history. You want to tell them some stories. You want to stress your achievement and your talents. And you need to talk about why are you going to benefit their business? They're hiring you. Why are they going to hire you? And so be prepared for questions from the employer or panel of interviewers. Here is a list of 12 of them. There are all kinds of other questions, and you need to be prepared for these questions. You could go back and you can print this out on our website if you want to have these all these questions right here, but you certainly be prepared to talk about yourself. What job skills and relevant experience have you had? Why do you want to work there? Now you've done all that research. This is your time to tell them all that. What specific job would you like to do? When can you start? I can start immediately. Boy, I could start right now. Your past history. Are you looking for long-term employment? Why did you leave your former place of employment? And you never want to talk about I got fired or whatever else. You just want to move through quickly and spin it around to something positive. What are your strengths, weaknesses? If you are a convicted felon, you explain that, yes, I spent some time behind bars. I'm called a returning citizen. You might not know that language, but it means that I have made some mistakes in my life. But believe me, I have learned from them. Let me tell you what I've done since then. And now I'm returning back to society. I am going to be a good neighbor. I'm a good father. I'm a good dad, a good brother, a good husband, whatever, a good mother, whatever. And I want to be the best employee you have. Will you give me that opportunity? Because I have learned so much from my past mistakes. Questions that you might want to ask the interviewer. I always recommend that you write a few little questions down so you have some things in mind. Ask them, why do they like working for that? What's the best part? How long have they been there? Is training available? What does a typical day look like for this job? Are they making the final decisions? And avoid talking about insurance plans, vacations, benefits, all that stuff, and salaries. Avoid the following: talking about a bad employer or boss, being fired from a former job. Again, you're going to just flip everything around. Anything negative, nope. You're going to avoid it. You're going to flip it right back around. You do not ever look at your watch, thumb your foot, or tap the table, or put anything on the desk, because that is their space. And do not put purses or papers on their desk. You're not going to be avoiding and getting there. Now, the lunch interview, if they are taking you to lunch, they're spending a lot of money on you, so obviously they are very interested in you. You want to dress appropriately. You're not ever going to drink, ever, never, at any work function, because you're getting paid. I don't care if the boss does it, let everybody else do it. You're going to keep a clear head. One thing that you want to remember is you never season your food before you taste it. That is something a human resource person is looking for, because if you season your food, it indicates to them you've already made up your mind. So that means in the job, hey, I already know how I'm going to do this job. That's a crazy little thing, but salt and pepper in your food, you always want to taste it first. And then use your best manners. If you don't know what to do what the boss does, or the person that invited you out to lunch. Do what they do. And never order the most expensive thing. Don't say, hey, yay, I get to have steak and lobster today. No, because they're looking at how are you going to control your spending using a company credit card when you're out entertaining clients. And if you're going to take the most expensive thing, I always recommend ask who invited you to dinner, what do you recommend here? That's probably what they're going to order. Do not lie, do not lie, do not lie. This will end your career, could end your career that day. It could end it 5 years later. You do not ever want to lie about anything. What every employer expects: of course, proper dress, respect for the rules, performance, attendance, punctuality, dependability, loyalty, and acceptance of criticism, because you always want to be improving in your job. And they also expect enthusiasm. So show that you're enthusiastic, you're excited about this job, your willingness to learn, your initiative, honesty, cooperation, and your ethical characteristics. And I always try to give 110%. If everybody else is just sitting down, go do something else. Never just sit there waiting for the boss to tell you something. There's always something to be done. Even if it's vacuuming, cleaning out the microwave or refrigerator, there's something to be done. And I promise you an owner is going to see it and appreciate it. I want you to look at this chart, how expensive it is to make phone calls personal phone calls while you were at work. At $10 an hour, the new minimum wage, that's 17 cents a minute. A 5-minute call is 85 cents. A 10-minute call, $1.70. And plus, you are taking time away from the workplace. Text messages, it's estimated it takes at least 3 minutes to read, respond, and look for the response on a text message. If you do that at $10 an hour at a 5-minute call and a text, look at the cost, $1.36. 3 5-minute calls, of course, you say, well, it's only 8 hours across the whole day. That costs your employer almost 30 minutes of work time. Who could afford that? Act like the owner. If you act like the owner, you're going to put your phone away and you're going to keep your job. Now, lastly, about returning citizens. I want to talk about returning citizens and what that terminology means. Again, if you have had any kind of criminal record, I want you to talk about, I have made some mistakes in the past. I am returning back as a citizen, and I am going to do the best I can for you. And I am going to be your best employee because I know that you are giving me the second chance to turn my life around, and I appreciate it so much. So I hope you've learned a few little tips and tricks here today. Remember, the most important thing is you're working in the field where you want to work. Then find those 10 places where you want to go and concentrate all your effort on those 10 places. Quit running here and there and everywhere. You're going to concentrate where you want to work. And I guarantee you, you do these things and you follow what I just shared, and you will get a job and you will get to do what you want to do. So thanks for being with us today. I hope you'll have a lot to talk about now as you go into your discussion groups, and I thank you for being with us. Bye-bye.